the status of downstream petroleum audit. It will be recalled that the measurement audit for downstream petroleum agreement was one of two contracts unlawfully signed by Mr. Inti on 3 October 2019 as Commissioner General of GRA, though he retired on 1 October 2019. SML was required to develop and implement an end-to-end electronic metering management system dedicated solely to fiscal measurement aimed at loss prevention. By deploying very accurate computerized fiscal metering system, identifying quantities of petroleum products delivered to the bulk distribution center depots per day and month. Excuse me. The OSP investigation shows that SML's participation in downstream petroleum audit was unnecessary, and that its monthly audit reports were unreliable, as its metering system was unsuitable for the design of the pipes at several depots. Further, SML could not integrate into ICAMS and the MPA system, that's the ERDMS. Therefore, it was compelled to resort to way-bill scanning at some point as a substitute for end-to-end electronic monitoring. Notwithstanding these known inhibiting factors, the public official promoters, sponsors, and patrons of SML continued to disburse substantial sums of public funds to the company. In early September 2020, SML submitted its first audit report for July, August, and September 2020. The company claimed in the report that it had observed a sharp increment in petroleum products lifting of the depots at which it had installed its metering system commencing from May 2020, when it deployed its meters to measure lifted volumes. In addition, it stated that its readings for the period were about the same as that of MPA, and that this attested to the fact that its readings were reliable and could be depended on for the revenue assurance processes. Further, the company claimed that the pattern of increase could be attributed to the effective monitoring by the introduction of its electronic meter monitoring system and the vigilance of customs officers. This report drew a sharp rebuttal from the Commissioner of Customs Division of GRA, Colonel Damwa, retired. By a letter dated 3 September 2020 and addressed to SML, he stated, "Your report on revenue savings has been considered. However, we are unable to accept conclusively that the growth in revenue is a result of the installation of meters by SML." Notwithstanding this remarkable awareness of SML's false claims, Colonel Damwa neither recommended suspension nor insisted on remedial action, and he participated in the contrived system of unjustifiable payments to SML, even when further evidence of SML's technological incapacity came to his attention in April 2021 through the service provider for ICAMS. SML continued its fantastically false claims into early 2021. It then continued its claims of being indispensable in the industry all the way through 2022. However, in the first half of 2023, SML was made to confront reality. It changed its tone in its audit reports as a result of design unsuitability problems discovered in respect of its meters, and that corrective measures were required for accurate readings. The language in its June 2023 audit report was subdued. It declared that the volumes declared in ICAMS tallied with that recorded by SML. From August 2023 running into 2025, its language became contrite and restitutive, as now the ICAMS volumes began outstripping SML's readings. Members of the media, the OSP investigation shows that SML's meters were Honeywell VersaFlow TWS 9000W multipath ultrasonic flow meters. And according to the Ghana Standards Authority, which is the custodian of weights and measures, these meters are attractive for measurement in the oil and gas industry because of their non-intrusive clamp-on installation, which does not require welding or cutting, and that the use of these meters ensures high accuracy as opposed to single-path ultrasonic flow meters. However, on SML's own showing from its audit report from August 2023, added to an operational shortfall of not having fixed meters in at least 5 depots, its metering system was encountering substantial physical and operational challenges in a good number of the depots, resulting in inability of measurements tabled as follows. 1. SML's meters were unable to measure residual fuel oil because the temperature and fluid viscosity were too high for clamping and performance of ultrasonic flow meters. 2. SML did not measure volumes at depots that load products at atmospheric pressure using natural gravity because ultrasonic flow meters are unsuitable for work in such conditions. 3. SML did not measure volumes at depots where flows of petroleum products go through underground pipelines, since it was physically impossible to clamp the meters on underground pipelines. To address some of these concerns, SML perennially expressed the intention of installing an automatic tank gauging system. It fixed 8 out of 29 depots. The OSP investigation also discovered that a high discrepancy in readings that SML kept reporting from June 2020 through December 2022 was largely due to SML's meters reading vibrations and sounds from trucks as they discharge petroleum products at night. Further, the meters sometimes recorded pressurized water used in washing the pipes and driving products through the pipes. The OSP investigation shows that the public official promoters, sponsors, and patrons of SML were fully aware of the accused shortfall of SML service in the downstream petroleum sector, yet they persisted in their patronage by permitting it to operate and religiously authorizing payments to it while they remained in a lethargic state of willful blindness. This could only have been for their private benefit. Indeed, as recently as January 2025, SML was exhibiting inability of comprehending the loading process through ERDMs and ICAMs. This was evidenced in a letter dated 17 January 2025 by the head of petroleum operations at GRA addressed to the managing director of SML. In respect of the upstream petroleum and minerals audit, it didn't take off as a result of the presidential directive for suspension and as a result of the OSP investigation. A central issue arising from the automatic payments by GRA to SML in respect of downstream petroleum audit is that GRA, the Central Tax Authority, failed to deduct statutory taxes totaling 13,380,000 cedis. GRA subsequently, in July 2024, offset this tax component. However, the penal component of 18,800,000 cedis remain outstanding. In addition, there is an outstanding pay-as-you-earn tax liability of 346,967 cedis, 53 pesos. Now I'm coming to an end. The KPMG audit and the OSP investigation. We recall that while OSP's preliminary findings accorded with the major factual findings in the KPMG report, the OSP found itself unable to agree with some major conclusions drawn by KPMG, especially in respect of accountability and value for money. This is because the OSP investigation shows that the KPMG report was placatory in material respects, as it sought to beatify SML by ignoring the fact that it did not possess independent reconciliation algorithms and audit tools, and that it was plying its purported trade alongside ICAMs and ERDMS without adding any real value to the products of these established processes. Indeed, the causal relationship KPMG sought to draw between improvements in the downstream petroleum audit sector and SML services was non-existent. The OSP agrees with KPMG on its conclusion that there was no specifically commissioned and purpose needs assessment report. However, KPMG's narrative on contracting methodology did not quite examine SML's incapacity at inception. In respect of transaction audit and external price verification services, KPMG concluded that SML delivered partially and that GRA may not have obtained all the expected benefits from the services. KPMG based this conclusion on its observation that SML submitted some of the expected reports and that in respect of some, it sources data from wrong documents. However, the OSP found no verifiable evidence of the said reports in GRA's records or in the records of SML as having been transmitted to PCA and CTSB for verification. Further, the PCA unit confirmed during the OSP investigation that no such report came to its attention. Then again, there was no critical examination as to the substantive quality and validity of the said reports referred to by KPMG. Indeed, KPMG's own officials who attended the OSP during the investigation failed to substantiate the claim of partial delivery when they were questioned by OSP officials. They could not provide any documentary evidence to show up their own claims. Then there is the payment methodology, which tells a different story, which is that GRA was paying SML automatically without the submission by SML of a single invoice backed by verified reports. In respect of measurement audit for downstream petroleum, KPMG concluded that there was reported incremental volume that is attributable to the involvement of SML determined at 1.70 billion liters for the period, which translates to incremental revenue of 2.5 billion cedis attributable to the involvement of SML. The OSP firmly disagrees with this conclusion by KPMG. Indeed, the OSP investigation shows that KPMG relied heavily on trend analysis of petroleum lifting volumes between 2018 and 2013, and not so much to a fixed fee structure in respect of downstream petroleum products audit. So by a memorandum of understanding signed on 1 November 2024, they changed the variable fee mechanism to a monthly fixed fee of 22,629,204 cedis 95 pesos, being they stated equivalent of 1,432,228 United States dollars 16 cents, inclusive of all taxes, at the prevailing Bank of Ghana exchange rate, which operated on 1st October 2024. In our estimation, the cedi version of the stated fixed monthly fee in the 1 November 2024 addendum is unnecessarily deceptive, as the party's real intention as captured in clause 13 of the MOU itself is a monthly fee of the stated figure in United States dollars. GRA has not paid SML since December 2024 as a result of the OSP investigation. And ladies and gentlemen of the press, action in respect of key actors. The outcome of the investigation is that the OSP will charge the following persons with various corruption and corruption-related offenses before the end of November 2025. 1. Kenneth Nanayao Ofori, former Minister of Finance. 2. Ernest Akori, Chef de Cabinet to Kenneth Nanayao Ofori as Minister of Finance. 3. Emmanuel Kofinti, former Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority. 4. Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, former Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority. 5. Isaac Krenzel, former Commissioner of the Customs Division of Ghana Revenue Authority and General Manager of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. 6. Kwejo Damwa, former Commissioner of the Customs Division of Ghana Revenue Authority and Member of Parliament for German South constituency. As part of the process, the OSP will seek to recover the financial loss caused to the Republic from the persons listed above. Also, the OSP will recover a total amount of 125 million cedis from SML by way of a disgorgement of unjust enrichment of overpayment by the return of the benefit of this amount it obtained unfairly at the expense of the Republic. This amount was arrived, one in Accra and the other in Tema. The hiring of employees, the payment of employees' salaries and attendance statutory payments, the acquisition of vehicles, the acquisition of an installation of ultrasonic meters and automatic tank gauges, and the procurement of a transaction value assessment system, TVAS. I have two very short recommendations and I bring it down. The circumstances surrounding the enforced insertion of SML in the nation's quest for increased revenue were regrettable, unlawful conduct, and reckless financial decision-making. Indeed, this was a case of unnecessary and wasteful pretend revenue assurance, except for comparison purpose only. Even then, the basis of the supposed comparison was a collection of disappearing acts of noteworthy utility. And even now, some officers of GRA are issuing letters and statements along the lines of the pretense that this has been worthwhile for the nation. Such statements are feeble attempts at face saving, and they do not operate to extinguish the criminal culpability of the public official promoters, sponsors, and patrons of SML. However, there is much wisdom and force in the institution of real revenue assurance, as it involves the identification, prevention, and correction of revenue leakages, thereby enhancing the public purse. In the estimation of the OSP, GRA did right by finally terminating the transaction audit and price and external price verification aspects of SML's engagement in November 2024. The OSP recommends that that termination should be made to lie where it fell, as SML showed a classless non-performance of the service it was unlawfully engaged to perform in the sector. Further, the OSP can neither choose nor recommend contractual partners for public institutions. Therefore, if in the estimation of MOF and GRA, they are desirous of retaining SML in other areas of revenue assurance, then critical needs assessment should be performed, and the ministry and its regulatory agency must ensure that all statutory and regulatory prior approvals and licenses are obtained, and further, that contractual obligations are mounted on expertise, experience, and capability based on responsible value for money verification and monitoring constructs. The OSP highly commends Evans Eziamo Mensah, Ajua Adubia Owusu, and Manasi Azuri Awuni. We are very grateful for your service. Ghanaians, thank you. Extradition matters. It would occur to you in my submission that the main suspect in respect of the concluded SML investigations is the former finance minister, or a former finance minister, Kenneth Nanaya Ofori Atta. We recall that in February, the OSP declared him a fugitive from justice and placed him on our list of wanted persons. The OSP drew a lot of flack that we were going after a very sick person. But our intel told us, and we very well knew, and we kept insisting and telling Ghanaians, that he just did not want to come into the country voluntarily to answer to these charges. We did not relent, even in the face of the negativity. We went ahead. When we relaxed, placing him on the list of wanted persons on representations that he may show up at a certain time, some members of the public took it as weakness in us. Although what we were doing was that if a person says that they are so ill that they cannot show up, you grant them that regard for them to heal before they come in. But on his own stated date, he failed to show up, whereupon we placed him back on the list of wanted persons. Then we drew more negative flack that we were talking too much. But all that time, we knew exactly what we were doing because our intelligence was solid, that this person just didn't want to come to the country voluntarily. By March of 2025, we had collected all the evidence that we needed to aid in the prosecution of this matter. However, two things were outstanding. One, we needed official verification of a lot of the items that we had intercepted, especially in respect of communication. And this will require the input of our major foreign partners. Indeed, the packet arrived on Monday in validation of what we had way back in March. Then, early June, I think it was 10th June, we carried out further searches and seizures at 2 offices of SML, one in Accra in Osu and one in Tema. And there we retrieved computer servers and hard drives that had to be subjected to forensic examination. This work is not done overnight. And it is upon this reason that we informed the Attorney General when we kick-started the extradition process that the dockets had not been bound up yet because we were waiting for something. At the OSP, we do not talk lightly. We knew what we were waiting for, and we have them fully now. We have uncovered all that is contained on the computer servers and the hard drives. And now on Monday, with the gracious assistance of our major foreign partner, we have the validation of the evidence that we had way back in March 2013. So, on 2nd June 2020, we triggered the extradition request because by March, as we said, we had all the evidence we needed. We only needed official validation of them. And that is why we triggered the extradition request on 2nd June 2020 through the Chief of Staff. The past few weeks, we are once again drawing negative flag that we who put him on our list of wanted persons, that the OSP that declared him wanted, that the OSP that declared him a fugitive from justice, that the OSP that went to Interpol in record time of 48 hours and placed him on Interpol's red notice, we were stalling the case and that we were wasting time. But once again, as I said, we knew what we were doing and we knew what we were waiting for. And last week when the Attorney General addressed the media, he said something very poignant. He said, these financial investigations require time and patience. And we ask, give us that regard of time and patience, we will deliver the results wanted like this. And as I said, before the expiration of November 2025, we will charge all these persons that I listed before the criminal courts. We will not stultify our own investigations. We will not delay our own investigations. We would do it right. We will be patient. We will be meticulous. We would have all the expertise in the world examine all, because we only have one shot at these criminal cases. We cannot go back, forth with it. And so, I announce to you, as we did by way of our press statement last week, that we are in full collaboration with the Attorney General's department. We cannot work against each other. We are working for the same cause, which is the cause of the Republic of Ghana. And we cannot be at loggerheads. We cannot be in dispute. Sometimes, personalities and how one wants to do something may clash a bit, but that should not be taken as dispute or disagreement. Many of you do not know my relationship with the Attorney General. He is like a big brother to me. He taught me at Legon, and he also was part of my training. Indeed, we formed a firm together. And indeed, I was like his foreman even when he was putting up his first building in Accra. This is our relationship. The relationship is such that because he trained me and he taught me, I have a bit of him in me. he doesn't have a bit of me in him. And so sometimes my display of his bit in me stirs him up a bit. But at the end of the day, just as we were doing in private practice, we will bicker at home. But our product, when we finally churn it out, will be most robust and most fruitful. And this is our promise to Ghana, that we are working together. We cannot but work together. And we are going to work together in full collaboration, see to the end of this matter. Semo wa sembisa eye. Munya sembisa swa eye pa was my bread. I knew he would go because today Elton is not here, so you would go.
Thank you very much. My name is I work with Chieftaincy. Yes, taking time to assure all of us and for that matter, the country, that you have a very beautiful working relationship with the Attorney General. Right. Now, as we heard and was widely circulated last week, there was a request that was made of your office relative to a docket. Per what we gather, maybe it's the use of semantics. Maybe if it had been an investigative report, the story would have been different. What do you say to that? And somebody just sent me a message to ask you that if Ken Ofori Atta applies and obtains a U.S. citizenship, what becomes of your case against him?
Do you think I remember all this? Okay.
Right, my name is Mawina with TV3. With respect to the investigations that the office has been undertaking with respect to Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, I know that the SML is one of such investigations which the Office of the Special Prosecutor said it was engaged in. Does this mean the others have come to an end, if we can call it that, or these other investigations are running concurrently, even as you say that you're going to proceed and charge Ms. Ofori Atta? With respect to the docket, the conversation was that it had not been submitted. You've just told us that the final piece of confirmation you were waiting for arrived on Monday. Does this mean that, is there a timeline with which you can give us that you're going to submit this docket now to the Attorney General, because there's quite a lot of interest with respect to that as well?
See, people are really interested in the docket, as it should be.
Thank you very much. My name is Ernest Bako from Business and Financial Times.
Ernest what?
Bako from Business and Financial Times. So, I know you've done some cases in the past, most of them being plea bargain. So I want to find out, apart from Ofori Atta, we have about 5 other people. They are currently in the country, I hope. And so, will you continue? You made mention by end of November you file. Will you continue with these people's case, or you wait until you're able to bring Ken Ofori Atta in? And will you also be doing plea bargain with these cases, or will we see some people go behind bars? Thank you very much.
Sorry, I didn't get the last part. You sort of swallowed it.
I said I wanted to know if we will see these people going behind bars.
After plea bargain, you said something about them.
Or will we see them behind bars?
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. See, the first person who has a question who got it right. It's really about semantics. See, extradition requires a lot of complex dealings. You know, why is it going through the Attorney General? It's because the Attorney General is the central authority when it comes to these things. In some matters, the Minister of Foreign Affairs is the central authority. So if the Attorney General wasn't the central authority and we could just go, we would have just gone. The Attorney General is the only in the chain. when it goes through our mission, and it comes all the way back around to us because we initiated the process. It is unfortunate that there is talk about we have been asked for a docket and we have refused to give the docket and all. That is beside the point. That is not the issue at all. The issue is that you need to get it right the first time. You don't keep going back and forth. You need to get it right the first time. So when on 13th June, we responded to the Attorney General and we said that the docket is not yet boarded up. We meant exactly that. Now someone asked about timelines and all. That's not how we do these sensitive cases, to give timelines in the public domain, especially as the final decision will not be taken by the OSP. The final decision will not be taken by the Attorney General. The final decision will be taken by whichever foreign jurisdiction in which he is. U.S. citizenship. If he applies and obtains U.S. citizenship, we have been giving Ghanaians to the U.S. on extradition requests. And they will also be nice to give us U.S. citizens upon request. So the citizenship status does not prevent extradition. Only that when a person is a citizen of another country, it is more difficult to extradite the person to a foreign country. But we'll still move on with the processes and ensure that Ghanaians become less restive and appreciative of the issues and the work we are doing with the Attorney General. Wait or continue? We are not waiting for anyone. I said we are filing our charges, and Director of Prosecutions has promised me, because I'm expecting his charges tomorrow. And then I'll review. It takes a while, because when it goes from the investigative setup to and the asset recovery setup to me, then to him. Now the baton is with him now. He is anchoring on the third leg, and he will finally give it to me tomorrow. And then we'll file. So see, I said before the end of November, we will file. We are not waiting for anyone. Persons can be tried in absentia. We've seen it before. You can be sentenced in absentia. Anytime we find you in the jurisdiction, we can then proceed to apply the processes based on how it ended. Plea bargain, or see them behind bars. And so, see, the OSP legal regime is set up to give the special prosecutor a lot of discretion when it comes to what happens to cases. That discretion is based on tabulated legal principles of what the special prosecutor should consider in respect of whether the case should go a full trial or whether it should go by way of plea bargain. But the OSP does not suggest plea bargain to accused persons. That's not what we do. You suggest, so oftentimes their lawyers will write to us that they would want to go by way of plea bargain. They will then come and meet my team. They will discuss at length. And then when the matter is placed before me, I would go through what the law says and what they've brought by way of proposal to see if, in this case, it requires that we go to a full trial or it requires that we go by way of plea bargain. Now, if someone, for instance, in the other case where someone was supposed to have pocketed 35,000 cedis and the person comes for a plea bargain, did I want to see someone who pocketed 35,000 go to jail for, let's say, 5 or 8 years? When the person had offered something in the region of 200,000 that we can take and give to the state. The discretion by the law, I was way too happy to get 200,000 instead of 35,000 cedis for the Republic. I think the Republic benefited a lot from that case by way of that amount. So a lot of considerations go in considering whether it should go to full trial. Sometimes even the law says that the information a person offers, if it is going to fetch you much more well-versed suspects, you could cut the person that slack because of the value of that information. But it also depends on what the person is suspected to have done. Any other question?